everybody, welcome back to the Superhuman Resilience Project. This is Kara, and we're glad to have you here today. And I want to introduce you, for those of you who don't know her, this is Sarah, the CIT coordinator for the state of Missouri Department of Corrections.
Hello.
And we're going to be sitting here talking to you guys today a little bit about self-care, because one of the things that we hear a lot is, I don't have time for that. And let me tell you, this is just really funny to me, because I hear this all the time from people. I don't have time to do this. I have said I don't have time. I mean, you've heard me say it. You've gotten after me for saying that.
And it's true. If how we look at time is our responsibilities. So if I only have time to do the things that I'm required to do, I need to go to work. I need to feed the kids. I need to take care of my house. I need to do that to-do list. If that's how we value and attribute our time, then yeah, you don't have time for it. You're prioritizing all those other things.
Right. So if you get time, you can go on YouTube and you can look up a video called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that video and you'll want to look specifically for the video that's the time
It's a great book
video.
Too.
It is a great book.
Yes.
But it will tell you about how you prioritize things, and it's a great demonstration of making things accessible, I think. Making you realize how much more time you actually do have. And if you see her walking around back here, I just want to introduce, we've got also joining us today, Luna Bell. She did not want to be out of the spotlight today, so we are going to just let her be in the background of the part of the show. So
dogs make everything better.
They do. Dogs are the best. All right, so here's the thing. The big idea here is that you don't need more time. You just need to be more intentional with the time that you already have. And I know we've talked about intentionality before. Now, Sarah, working with CIT, how many times do you think people are in crisis because they haven't taken the time for themselves?
Oh, yeah, it's one of those things that sneaks up to you. Everyone is so busy, again, trying to do those things that they're responsible for. They completely forget that, that empty cup analogy that we use a lot. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. Mm-hmm. And they're so busy helping other people, and the more I hang out with the mental health folks and the more I hang out with my officers, the more I realize, like, if I'm helping other people, then I'll have to stop and think about what's wrong with me. And I'll have to stop and think about the stuff I need to do to make me a better person. But I can help everybody else. And I think that's a first responder thing, too.
Right. Absolutely. And that's who we're speaking to, is our veterans and first responders.
Yes.
And anybody else who wants to listen, of course. But, Sarah, I know for a fact that you take in a lot of responsibility in your position as far as, well, let's just say, I've been in the training before. I used to help conduct the training.
Taught me.
I was, yeah, that's kind of happened. But the thing is that sometimes we take so much on ourselves that we forget to make time for ourselves. And now we're carrying not only our own junk, but we're carrying other people's junk too. And we're in a role to do that.
Yeah.
We're in a position to do that. But that makes it even more important for us to make time for ourselves.
And it really, it comes down to prioritizing, I think. And a lot of times, as first responders, we will always prioritize the other person, the other team, making sure that everybody around me is successful. And we very rarely prioritize us. And a great example is, and I don't know where I got this from, but I had a friend of mine, we were eating, doing I was in class and we had dinner together, and she was kind of doing what I hear over and over again is, I don't have time. She had 4 kids, had a husband, they both had really intense jobs. And I was like, you really have more time than you think. And she's a really numbers person, and so I challenged her. I was like, do a time study, figure out where you're spending your time. What are you spending your time on, and is that important to you? And I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll buy you, give it a week, track your time, I will buy you brunch, we'll sit down and you can tell me how wrong I am. Knowing that I'm not wrong. So we get together that next Sunday, like we gave it a week, and she came in and was just so flustered. And during that week, she had like a water heater or something like that just burst in her basement. So I wasn't sure if it was like a plumbing issue, it was a water issue. It was a water issue of some kind. And she said, I had the worst week. Nothing got done. And I was like, that doesn't sound like you. She's like, well, no, I got my stuff done. Like the house is clean, the kids are fed, everybody survived. She goes, but I spent 9 hours dealing with this water, getting it cleaned up, dealing with the service people, doing all this stuff. And I was just smiling like, oh man, that's awesome. And she got mad at me and she's like, what do you mean? I wasted 9 hours of my week. And I go, you found 9 hours in a week that you told me you did not have any time to do something that was a crisis. And yet you choose not to do anything for yourself.
And that's a good point, because a lot of it is about choice.
Yes.
It's the decisions we make. When we come home after a busy day, do we pick up our cell phones and start scrolling through our Facebook accounts or our LinkedIn accounts or whatever that is? Brenda Dietzman and I talked just a little bit about this on the episode we did a couple weeks ago. And what it comes down to is 1% of your time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So 14 minutes and 26 seconds, which she rounds up to 15 minutes. Spend 15 minutes a day with intention to do something for yourself. Make a plan.
Yes.
That you're going to stick to. Take that time to breathe. Take that time to stretch yourself out. Take that time to grow your mind or expand your mind in some way by reading something.
Yeah.
Or by listening to this fantastic podcast I know about called the Superhuman Resilience Project.
Yes, yeah.
You can take that time and really help yourself slow down.
Yeah, and what I took away from that experience and what she took away too is like, man, you only need 5 minutes. If you're really looking for something that gives you energy, like just gets you through the rest of the day, 5 minutes is all you need. We have plenty of time. What we don't have is a plan, right? We don't have a plan of action. We don't have an attack plan. We don't have this set aside in our mind that we're going to do this. And so it's really easy for us to get pulled away by the responsibilities of life or the draw of doom scrolling on the TikToks and Instagrams and Facebooks and whatever the kids are watching these days.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And yeah, the videos are fun. Mm-hmm. They're funny. They give you some kind of a... It's almost like alcohol, where it just kind of numbs your brain.
Yeah, so you get a dopamine hit from those quick little videos, and there's some really interesting studies on how it mimics alcohol and addiction, mm-hmm. And how like most people nowadays, which was another really interesting study, like they don't even get through the whole video and they're scrolling on to something else, and they're talking about higher rates of depression, higher rates of that's why they're calling it doom scrolling, because you don't feel good when you're done scrolling.
And that's actually right, because I actually just saw something on the news this morning that the average video is only watched for 2 to 3 seconds before they scroll to the next one.
Scroll to the next thing.
So, I mean, you've really got to have something good out there for people to pay attention and listen to it. And that's, the thing is, it's really kind of about giving yourself intentional purpose. If I know that I need to get in better shape, then I need to take 15 minutes a day and start either researching what I need to do, mm-hmm. researching how I need to eat, or stretching, or taking a walk, or something. Even 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference in this person's life. But it's not easy either.
No.
So.
And like remembering to do that. And this again goes back to that like plan, and even just like prioritizing one day. Like it doesn't have to be a week long, like in my example. But if I just took one day and figured out what do I do in my day, and where can I fit these things in, and where can I plan mm-hmm. with intention to do these things that give me energy.
That makes absolute sense. And a lot of times you hear something, and I kind of heard you talk about it too. When you were talking about your example with your friend, where do you even start? And it's easy. If you feel like you don't have any time, grab a notebook, piece of paper, something that you can put in your pocket with an ink pen, and track your time. What are you doing with your time? Where are you spending your time every day?
I know I have one of those like digital things on my phone that tells me how much I'm spending on each app, and every time I look at it, it just makes me mad. Because I wasted 2 hours today on TikTok, and I could have done anything else with that 2 hours, or 2 hours on Facebook, or social medias, or all those things. Like, what could I have accomplished with
We
that
could have
2
been
hours?
planning another cruise in that time.
I could have been on a cruise.
I know. That's crazy. So here's the thing. You don't have to change anything right off the bat. Just start paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just really start thinking about where you're spending your time.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing when you need a minute? Are you going out and having a cigarette? Are you going out after work and having a couple drinks? Are you sitting on your phone looking at TikTok?
Yeah.
You know? It's really amazing how easy it is to find 15 minutes, 30 minutes, even an hour.
2 hours.
Or 2 hours.
I'm calling myself out. That's
So, so the next thing I want to kind of move into there is once we're finding that time, talk about the difference between resting and recharging.
Oh, yes. I have so many people, they're like, oh yeah, I got home, or I was able to like decompress on that drive home. Or I got home and I spent 15 minutes decompressing, and I was like, oh cool, what'd you do to decompress? It's like, oh, I just sat in utter silence. Like, no, honey, that's not resting. You're in a functional freeze in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But how many law enforcement officers, first responders, veterans, you say, like, I have to spend 15 minutes in the driveway before I can even go into the house?
Absolutely.
Or disappear into the man cave, or, the she shed, or wherever it is, and, like, just disengage completely and dissociate completely. And they're like, well, I gave myself some quiet time, so therefore I must have rested. No.
No, resting is what I do in my retirement here when I realize that I've been working harder.
Yes.
And I'm having trouble functioning, so I take a nap. Mm-hmm. And actually let my body rest.
Oh, a good tactical nap is so good
for you. That's great for retired people, I know. But a 15-minute nap can be very refreshing.
Yeah, if you can get that to 30 or 60 or 90, there's some really great research on how, like, I tell my night shift guys, like, if you take a 30-minute nap or a 90-minute nap before you come into work, you're going to make better decisions because your brain has a chance to actually rest. Mm-hmm. As opposed to that functional freeze that we see a lot of.
Absolutely. And another thing I think is recharging. Let's look at the difference here. Because after I nap, do I feel a little bit recharged? I do. But I also think that people miss on the recharge that recharging can mean fueling your system. Grabbing a snack. Drinking some water.
Drink some water, yes.
Water. Not an energy drink, but drink some water.
See, now I'm feeling personally attacked. There's usually an energy drink in my hand. So I know I need to, if I'm going to have an energy drink a water.
Well, you know what happens to me when I have 2 energy drinks in a row. So,
you become a lot of fun. And hard to handle and manage.
That's our secret. But yeah, you want to recharge, whether that's feeding your body, mm-hmm. Fueling your system, however that looks like. Or maybe it's feeding your mind. Maybe it's taking time for yourself to read or expand something. Every day there's something I'm like, I wonder how they did that. Or I wonder how that works.
Oh yeah, curiosity, yeah.
You can take that spark of curiosity and take that time on your phone instead of looking at TikTok and look up and say, hey, I want to know how this happens.
Yeah, I think YouTube did a really great job of like when you need to do something and learn something, everybody's like, I'm gonna go watch a YouTube video.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? You can do the same thing with Instagram, with TikTok, with Snapchat. You can do those same things where you can go on there and use them as a learning platform rather than a place that I just go and watch funny videos and don't even watch the whole thing. So it's intentional about how we use those things to recharge also. Because I can drink all the water in the world, but if I'm not doing it in a way that's beneficial to me, or I'm overdoing it because I'm supposed to drink so much water and then I'm flushing my system from the salt and stuff that I need, those electrolytes, that I'm not being intentional and I'm not using it in a way that gives me energy it takes from me instead.
Well, and I think too when you're watching those YouTube videos that you get something and you accomplish something on your own that you may have otherwise felt a lot of frustration with. And now you have a sense of accomplishment from it instead of a sense of frustration.
Yeah.
So we have a mutual friend who is very, very adept at looking up YouTube videos to work on her car or to refinish her house. Or, you know, and it's amazing. She just does beautiful work, and it's because she learned it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I actually asked her one day, I said, "Did you learn that in the Marine Corps?" She said, "No, I learned it on YouTube." So,
again, back to that intentionality. Like, what are we using these things for? And are we using them for something that gives us a new skill, gives us something to feel good about, recharges us? Or are we using it to escape?
Exactly. Exactly. But what is it, Sarah? How do we actually know what gives us energy?
You can figure that out in 5 seconds. Because it's that moment when you're done doing whatever it is you're doing. How do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And like we name it like an emotional label for the hostage negotiators, right? Mm-hmm. Or we call it in CIT, we name it to tame it, that emotional label. What are you feeling in that moment? If I've just sat and scrolled on my social media for the last 2 hours and I'm done, am I tired? Or do I feel good? If I went out and went for a walk, like that's what they tell you to do, go out in nature, touch grass.
Right.
And you know, went out for a walk and I come home and I feel like shit? Is it because I spent the whole time thinking about all the other stuff I could have been doing rather than going for a walk?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a very good example. I mean, you know, here's the thing. How do you feel? And I talked to a couple people about this past week because I had made a post on my Facebook page, and it was from my last show, and they said that they thought fine was a feeling.
Yeah. I will call people out on that all day long.
I call people out on it all day long too. And I said, I understand that when you say you're feeling fine, that you're probably not feeling as good as you should. Mm-hmm. My point is, why are we not naming the feeling? Because that is exactly what you said. You name it, you tame it. Mm-hmm. Once you own it, you control it. So if I say today, Sarah, well, and I did just a little bit ago, Sarah, I got up this morning and I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the things I normally do today. I ran a few errands and I did some things around the house and I spent some time with my dogs to recharge myself. And I feel better this evening for doing those things. And I took a nap. Man, it's the best thing in the world. I love being retired. So what point I want to make here is that it's different for everyone. There's not one single answer. Different people have different needs. Just as each of us is as different as our fingerprints, we all have different needs as far as what refuels us, what recharges us.
Yeah, that's a challenge I give all to my CIT officers. I'm actually in class this week, and one of their homework assignments that they get from me is they need to make a list of things that give them energy. So if you have 5 minutes, if you have a lunch break, if you have a day, if you have a weekend, if you have an entire week to go on a cruise with us, right? Yeah. What are you doing? Because again, what works for me, like if I have 5 minutes, I have a weird thing where I love small children cursing. I get on TikTok and there's a small child saying a 4-letter word, it makes me belly laugh happy, and I can take on the rest of the day. And it only takes 5 minutes, but it makes me happy. It's probably I'm a horrible person, but it makes me laugh.
No,
you know?
totally. It's part of the dark humor we have too from our work that we've done in our lives. So I completely understand that. So. How do you feel about when people think it's selfish to take time for themselves?
I think we've come full circle back to that prioritizing, and we prioritize everyone else in our life, and every responsibility before we get to like, I'm so tired I can't function. I'm so tired I'm falling asleep at family events. I'm so tired that I'm grumpy or cranky and I just can't do anything anymore. And yet we have this culture of put up and shut up and get it done. And I don't care how tired you are. I don't care if you don't feel the best today. You have a job to do. You got to go do it. And it's hard to break that. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to like realize that pushing through isn't always the best thing.
Well, it's something you said to me there too, and you talk about they get grumpy, they get this, they get irritable, they get these different things, and then they're upset with themselves because that's how they were.
Oh yeah, you're short with your family.
Yes, I had a conversation earlier today with someone who said that they've had a lot of trauma in their life, and I won't go into what that trauma was, but they have been in therapy now for a little bit, and now they're taking medication. They've been on the medication for 4 weeks. And they were surprised that their therapist told them how proud they were of them for being on their medication for 4 weeks, because that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
And we had this discussion about, they said, I'm finally to a point where I don't feel irritable all the time, and I don't feel angry all the time. And I said to them, do you think that feeling of anger and irritability would be a defense mechanism to keep people away, to keep people from drawing in because of the pain you've experienced?
Yeah.
You're keeping people at an arm's distance. I have been there. I've done that. I don't want anybody to talk to me, so I just turn into a royal bitch.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy.
It's a great defensive tactic.
It's a defensive tactic, mm-hmm. and it can help you sort some things out. But the feeling you have afterwards makes you feel horrible that you treated somebody like that. Mm-hmm. So, that's one of the things that we want to talk about with why it's not selfish. There's 4 words we use all the time in our line of work. You should know it. I taught you these words. Self-care is not selfish.
Okay. I was like, oh God. I didn't realize there was a test.
There's a test. I taught her those 4 words. She should know this. Self-care is not selfish. Take the time that you need for yourself. You can't, like you said earlier, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you deplete yourself without ever refilling, eventually you have nothing left.
And nobody left.
Because you will push them away as a defensive mechanism because you're exhausted.
Yeah, and I can't handle one more thing on my plate. So I can't handle one more family event. I can't handle going to the store. I can't handle taking care of the house.
The kids' ball game, whatever it is, yeah.
And all that stuff we're missing out on just because we can't take one more thing. Right.
Absolutely. So we hear a lot about this when we're doing trauma-informed work, when we're working with CIT, when we're working with hostage negotiations and those things for you. But even when we're working with the veterans and first responders that we've mentored. Mm-hmm. And we talk a lot about being intentional.
Yeah,
and people sometimes don't really know what that actually means.
Yeah, so a good example for me is, again, and go back to that prioritizing, is I'll have spent a week away from my family, and every Friday night when I return, we get together and we have a pizza night, which is different from us because I'm the cook, right? Mm-hmm. So I will go into that kitchen and I cook stuff from scratch, and I just got a new tortilla press, so I'm really excited to use it. But when I cook, I'm spending hours in the kitchen away from my family, and I sit down and have a teenage son, so the food's gone in 2.5 seconds, and he's off doing whatever he's doing. And so if I'm being intentional about my time, I would rather spend 20 minutes to make a frozen pizza or order a pizza and have it in and spend that time, the 2 hours, with my family rather than that 2 hours in the kitchen proving my love to them. Why not show them? And so I'm being intentional about that time with them, especially after being gone for an entire week. I know that's important. Especially, I know my spouse is. If you know their love language, please, if you don't already know your spouse's love language. But my spouse's love language is physical touch. So even just being in the same room or body doubling where we're doing stuff together, all that stuff proves that I love them. And if you're not giving that person what they need, again, as first responders, it's really easy for us in our line of work to end in divorce and in bad relationships because we're not prioritizing those needs either.
Correct. So yeah, I think that's very good points that you make. But I also want to make the point that being intentional does not mean being perfect.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as perfection. It doesn't happen. The best thing I think you can do is laugh at your mistakes and step forward with the intention of doing better next time.
Oh yeah, it's not that deep.
It's
like
not that. It's when people do this. Oh, I'm living intentionally, and it's taking all my time, and it's like, okay, living intentionally is not supposed to take all your time. Living intentional means that you stop letting your time happen to you. It means that I get up in the morning and I say, today, I'm going to have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my best to have the best day possible. And they can mean a lot of other things too, but say for instance, I drive rideshare in my spare time, and when I get out in my car every day, my intention is to be the person that my passengers need me to be. And you know as well as I do, because we've talked about this, I end up with some really deep conversations in my car with people because I do a lot of long-time trips.
Yeah, so again, I tell you, it's the downside to being really good at actively listening is you turn into everybody's therapist because no one else is listening.
Well, but the thing is that I'm happy to do it because I feel like I've been put there for a reason. And I've actually had my passengers say, I'm so lucky that you were my driver today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to myself, how is it possible that people have no one to listen to them? And then I also think to myself, are they taking the time to let somebody listen to them? So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You can be there for everybody else, but you also have to step up for yourself too.
And advocate for yourself.
Because self-care
is not selfish.
Self-care is not selfish. That's absolutely right. So let's talk about the one thing that you can do today. And let's pick that 5 or 15-minute window that because it's 1% of your day.
Yes.
1% of a 24-hour period is 14 minutes and 26 seconds. If you want to be literal, but I'm going to round it to 15. But let's take that 1% of our day and focus on purpose. Not leftover time or planned time, but what do we need in that moment? So, that's my intention every day is like, what do I need and what do the people I'm going to encounter today need? And how do I balance that so that we both get what we need?
Mm-hmm.
Or so that each of us get what we need.
Yeah.
So do something every day that gives you energy. And then, like you talked about earlier, notice how you feel afterwards. And don't say, oh, I feel energized. Okay, that's kind of silly. You're doing something that's giving you energy, and I don't feel energized. But how do you feel? Do you feel like you're accomplished? Do you feel good? Do you feel happy? You do not feel okay. You do not feel fine. I will tell you that over and over again. Give me a definitive feeling.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how a bunch of type A first responders who have a plan for everything do not have a plan for self-care. And first responders, veterans, they need to control everything, but yet they just let their days happen to them rather than having an intentional plan to do something for themselves.
Yes, and then they wonder why they feel broken.
Yeah.
And it's because they're not taking time to repair themselves.
And it can be as simple as just whatever that intention is for you, that thing that gives you energy. So for me, I know I have a 2-hour drive back tomorrow, but I have a brand new audiobook that I'm really excited to listen to. And so I'm looking forward to that long drive.
None of my books are on audiobook yet.
Yeah, I know. As an audio learner.
I'll work on that.
But it's an interesting book on why we procrastinate. And I'm looking forward to it. And I know that that's going to give me energy because it's something I'm interested in. And it can be something as like, okay, I plan to listen to that book. That is planned self-care.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Because that gives your mind something to focus on. And that is really what it is about. It's about focusing your life, focusing who you are. It is not about perfection. And even as much as 5 minutes matters.
Yeah.
It really does. Remember, folks, we're not asking anybody or explaining to anybody that they should overhaul their whole life. There is no reason to overhaul your whole life. But there is a reason to take a look and stop making the excuse that you don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the excuse is not that you don't have time, it's that you haven't made time.
Yeah. There's a really interesting, and it goes back to that procrastination. This is what got me on it, by Dr. Paris Steele, and it's called the procrastination equation. And in it, it talks about how your values and your expectations divided by your impulsiveness and delay determine whether or not you're going to do something. And the more I looked at it, the more I was like, I don't know what my values are. I know what my responsibilities are as a mother, as a wife, as a program director, as a friend. I know what that is for everybody else, but I don't know what that looks like for me. What do I really, really value? And I know that's something we do in Warriors Ascent, is we really hone down to what is it that you truly value and truly care about. Because you can have all the intention in the world, like I intend to, really hone in and spend all this time with my family. But if that causes me grief, if that causes me anxiety, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's not something I value, it's like, oh, I'm gonna learn this new skill. I'm gonna learn how to, balance my finances for a change. I'm gonna do the math. I don't value any of that. I'm never gonna do it. Like, it's like going for a run. I did it in the Army because they forced me to, but I don't value running whatsoever.
I agree with you. I'm right there with you on that one.
But there's some people that they value that because they get that runner's high and they get that feel-good feeling afterwards. So they're just more likely to do it. So when I'm making my plan, when I'm being intentional, even if it is just for that 15 minutes, if it's not something I value, if it's not something I'm going to get anything from, or I don't expect to get anything from, why would I go through with it? Why would I do it? And that's a fascinating concept to me.
It is.
If you really hone down what you truly value, like I value creativity, I value having fun, which is why even though going on a cruise was a year away, I would still do it in a heartbeat.
By the way, we travel a lot together, but it's almost always on cruises. So.
Because I value other people feeding me. And turquoise water.
So if any of y'all want to join us, just let us know here at the Superhuman Resilience Project by emailing questions for Karen. We'll be more than happy to set you up with one of those cruises.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We're actually doing some group cruises, actually. We've got one coming up in a couple of weeks. We actually check in tonight. And we'll be sailing out of New Orleans here for eight days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, it goes back to the intentionality because, like, my world was never rocked so hard when I had a therapist tell me that me doing all the things on vacation, because I have to do all the things, experience everything, and then I come home exhausted, was a trauma response. Because I cannot sit with myself for more than 5 minutes. And if I'm trying to do that for 15 minutes and being intentional about being left alone with my thoughts for 15 minutes, that's scary.
Well, and here's the thing. That 15 minutes, nobody said there's a rule that says that 15 minutes has to be at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can take 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here, and have 15 minutes in a day that you spent for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And planning something for yourself or working on something for yourself. and still accomplish the exact same thing as if I sat down and do it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for us to say, because we're not talking about leftover time. We're not talking about extra time. We're not talking about making or creating more time. We're talking about rearranging the time we already have, spending less time on something that's less valuable to us, so that we can spend that time on something that's more valuable to us. I wanted to be very careful how I said that.
Because prioritize it. What are we prioritizing?
Exactly. And there are plenty of things out there on the internet. There are books. There are plenty of podcasts and worksheets available on how to identify what it is you really value. So, right. Well, Sarah, I want to thank you for joining us tonight on this episode of the Superhuman Resilient Project. Again, this episode is You Do Have Time for This.
Yeah, you do.
And we'd really love to hear back from you. Again, that's questions for Kara at gmail.com. That's questions and then the number 4, Kara, C-A-R-A, at gmail.com. Folks, thank you for joining us today on the Superhuman Resilience Project. We hope that today's episode gave you some fuel for your life, some guidelines maybe to help you find where your energy is and find where your rest is and how to recharge yourself. Remember that you can be strong enough to stand on your own, but be wise enough to and know when you need help, and be brave enough to ask for it. Can't wait to see you till next week. We'll be recording soon from the deck of a ship.
Because self-care.
For our self-care. And we'll see you next time on the Superhuman Resilience Project.